All right, the time is now 7:30, and I'd like to call our meeting to order. Caitlin, can you please proceed with the roll call?
Yes. Trustee Doherty. Here. Trustee Gagani. Here. Trustee Humphries.
Here.
Trustee Cotia. Here. Trustee Stapleton. Here. President Graber.
Here, thank you very much. We're now on to agenda item number 3, the welcome to the visitors. Thank you very much for your interest in the library. We appreciate it. We're now on to agenda item number 4. We'll start with 4A, the oath of office for Trustee Humphries for a 6-year term. Are you ready?
Stand up.
Yeah, I get to go first.
Can you just recite it at this point?
I wrote them.
As you can see, we're informal. I don't think I've done this since very first time, but I'm happy to do it again.
Usually we're up front.
Yeah. Front and center.
Yeah.
It's all up together.
We're here. And dictionary.
Okay. Yeah. You good? All right. I state your
I,
name.
David Humphries,
Having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of library trustee
to the office of library trustee
of the Downers Grove Public Library
of the Downers Grove Public Library
in the village of Downers Grove
in the village of Downers Grove
in the county of
in the
DuPage,
county of DuPage,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of
and
Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of library trustee
the duties of the office of library trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a dance.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Renali Grandia,
Having been appointed
to
the office of library trustee
the office of library trustee
of the Downers Grove Public Library
of the Downers Grove Public Library
in the village of Downers
in
Grove
the village of Downers Grove
in the county of DuPage,
in the county of DuPage,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of
and
Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of library trustee
the duties of the office of the library trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Great.
And welcome.
Yeah, we have it full screen.
All right, we're now on to agenda item number 5, approval of last month's minutes. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the minutes? We have
I had none, I move that we approve.
okay, we have a motion to approve last month's minutes that has been seconded. Caitlin, just for the purposes of Barnali abstaining essentially, I think we should proceed with the roll call. on this
Okay.
one.
Yes. Trustee Doherty? Yes. Trustee Gagani? Yes. Trustee Humphries?
Yes.
Trustee Cotia? Abstain. Trustee Stapleton?
Yes.
President Graber?
Yes. Thank you very much. The minutes have been approved. We're now on to agenda item number 6, financial matters. Let us know how we're doing.
Sure. We are doing very well. The property taxes posted for the beginning of the fall payments. So if you look at your revenue sheet, you can see that we are at 71% collected, and that's before we even get to September. So going right along there. And I am very, very pleased to report, although it is not reflected on the August statements that you have in front of you, that we did receive our Illinois Public Library per capita grant for FY 2019 in the full amount of $61,516.25. So we were very excited to get that. That is more than we had actually budgeted. So that was a really wonderful little gift in the mail from the state of Illinois. On the expense side, as you can see, we are 66% through the year. Most of our budget lines are running exactly as we would expect. We are all on track, and just to remind you, August was a 3 payroll month, so you will see that reflected in the payroll numbers. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Did the state check clear?
I ran to the village today.
So that's as close as we can get.
So it's simple.
We're very happy to get.
But here's a question also then, so do you run everything through the village?
Yes, all of our ITR deposits, we actually don't do daily deposits anymore, it's a couple times a week.
And all of our financials are done through the village.
I do know they ran them for you, but I didn't know how to
We-
pay it.
No, we do not. Everything is commingled with the village of Downers Grove, and all of our bills are actually paid by checks that say the village of Downers Grove. And so when our bills are approved, then in the morning, Caitlin lets the village know, and they release those payments the day following.
I didn't have any questions on the financials, so I don't know if anyone else.
Our new board member may have a lot of questions. Eventually.
Maybe not yet.
I sure did for the first 5 years. Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the financial matters as presented that has been seconded. Caitlin, could you proceed with the roll call, please?
Trustee Doherty?
Yes.
Trustee Morgan?
Yes.
Trustee Humphries?
Yes.
Trustee Coontz? Trustee Stapleton?
Yes.
President Gray?
Yes. Thank you very much. The financial matters have been approved. We're now on to agenda item number 7, public comment on agenda items. Does the public have any comments on agenda items? Okay, thank you. We're now on to agenda item number 8, public comment on other library business. Okay, thanks, Joni. We're now on to agenda item number 9, 9A, the art conservation proposal.
So, one of the things that we included in our strategic plan was the action item to preserve and protect our art collection. We had, during the strategic planning process, identified that our constituency really finds having art in the library very valuable, and it came to light that we had never really thought about preserving and protecting the collection. So, put it on the strategic plan. I identified a conservationist with the help of our friends over at the Oak Park Public Library. Oak Park, Hinsdale, and Downers Grove are 3 of the libraries that kind of pride themselves on having an art collection of significance. And so we have in the past worked very closely with them to kind of help us out with ideas and thoughts on policies and that sort of thing. It was a natural progression to reach out to them. Through them, we found out about Margaret Sawchuk from the Art Objects Conservation Lab, had her come out along with her intern, and they took pictures of the entire art collection and put together an extensive proposal that includes the cleaning of every single piece in the collection to the tune of about $40,000 total. Since we were not ready to take that on this time, we really took a look at what she felt were the areas where we had things that had been damaged, that needed some attention. And the two things that were in particular are the outdoor statue, the Children of Peace, that I did not know until I spoke to her that bronze statues actually do require cleaning and waxing every couple of years for their ongoing maintenance. Didn't know that, now we know. But ours is overdue for this, and it also has some areas of deterioration that need a little bit of TLC to stabilize that piece again. And in addition, during our 2014 renovation, when the piece, the Epic of Gilgamesh, was moved to its current location, one of the pieces of that bas-relief was actually cracked, and it was inexpertly prepared at the time. So, and that was one of those things that Melody Danley, our former graphics and display coordinator, had helped to identify, and that was something that would probably need attention in the near future. So my proposal is that we take those two pieces and have those as the damaged pieces in our collection, and with the most potential for continuing deterioration. Have those taken care of right away. It's something we can afford in this year's budget, and then look to the 2020 budget and what we can afford to do a little at a time with the plan moving forward for the ongoing maintenance of the collection. So one of the most significant costs within that treatment proposal is actually the cleaning of the Journey to Janus sculpture, which, as you know, is above the Curtis Street entrance in the two-story atrium area, and also continues along the spine on the second floor of the library. This, to my knowledge, has not been cleaned.
It is not.
It will require a scissor lift and a separate scaffold to be built. Our elevator is too small to fit a scissor lift, so anything that is done up on the second floor where that piece continues along the spine needs a scaffold that is built in place in order to do that work. So that was $6,900 out of the $40,000 proposal. So we have been talking, Hinsdale Library has someone who cleans and sculpture that is in a similar atrium area for them on a regular basis, so we will be reaching out to see if that specialty cleaner might be a little more cost effective, or if there are other such folks that we can identify to do that as cost effectively as possible while maintaining the integrity of the piece.
The history there was that when this section of the building was built, and the board saw the first architect's rendition of ideas for this building, showing that entry atrium on the Curtis Street entrance. Several of us looked at that and said that just screams for art. And the architect agreed. And we had kicked around some ideas, but somebody came up with the idea of selling the grid of bricks for the outdoor patio, and we thought we might get $15,000 or $20,000 from that, and maybe be able to do something in the way of brickwork. Well, that was extremely successful, and we got quite a bit more money, and that's where the art collection began. We commissioned the Journey to Janus, the two pieces that you just mentioned. By the way, there is a third piece of that, which is not included in this proposal. We'll talk about that later. But at the top,
The lights that continue to the left hand.
that has never been cleaned either, and it was pretty bad. So we'll talk about that, but it's a small addition piece. But it is the only, to my knowledge, and something has just happened recently, it is the only public art collection in Downers Grove. are very proud of it, and the intent was originally that the majority of the purchases were going to be through donated funds, through foundation that didn't exist yet, but the brick sales and so forth, although it was the intent at that time to include a small amount in the annual budget for acquisition. But the feeling at that time, including the consultant that was hired at that time, was, down the road, we'll start thinking about conservation. Down the road is here, on past here. And we owe it to the donors and to ourselves and to our constituents to take care of this art collection. So I'm thrilled that this is happening, and we just have to figure out how to schedule it so that we take care of the art that we have.
But at the same time, the first question that popped to my mind when I saw the prices to restore these or keep them in good shape is the conservation cost more than the item in some of those cases? And is that the way we want to?
And that's some of the hesitation on going through the whole proposal and really taking a step back, because some of those pieces are prints and things that are not as significant when we're looking at things like the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Children of Peace Ground statue, the Puffed Up Prince, the Journey to Janus. Those are the more significant and expensive pieces in our collection.
Right, and I did do a few of the spot checking. I agree, by the way, I think that you've identified the two pieces that are the most important. I think possibly with the mural in there as well, because I felt the same way on the kind of the pictures essentially that, could, and I was thinking also like, could some of that, do we have staff who might be able to do that? We were spoiled with Ian doing a lot of the work that we were planning on outsourcing at one point, and so are there people on staff who might be able to do some of that as well? So, but my point though was I did actually look up the Children Peace Garden Walk, and it is a very valuable piece. I think the Epic of Gilgamesh is harder to assess, but it's obviously important to the library.
Let me add, I agree with you. In some cases, we might find that some of the pieces could be, retired and possibly replaced. We don't
Or
have to
left
keep
as is.
everything
Yes.
forever. That was not an intent either. I also want to comment on Gilgamesh, which is the piece, the oddly on the stairwell. That was in an earlier building, and it was commissioned back in the 70s, I think, or something like that, when the original part of that part of the building was designed by a guy named John Wilson. It was built, and this was commissioned at that time, and it was located on the first floor in that building. And when the expansion was considered, the most recent expansion was considered, nobody wanted to use that piece, and yet the wall it was mounted to was being removed. And so that piece was rather painstaking, rather expensively removed and relocated to this point, but not perfect. And that's the oldest piece in the collection, and the most historic one, since it sort of memorializes the world's first library, or first book, excuse me. First book.
Was
Right.
first book and one of our first long-term librarians here.
And it was donated memorial to her. Frida Humphreys, nobody is who was the librarian here for about 100 years.
So just, it's in the report, but the recommended action is to accept the treatment of those two pieces, the Children of Peace Garden Walk and the Epic of Gilgamesh. And I think the report then serves as a guide going forward as far as scheduling out additional work for that moving
And
forward.
I'd like to see that as part of the motion, that we would consider developing a long-term plan for preservation of the collection, not every piece.
So in addition to assessing the condition of the pieces, does the conservator have anything to say about the current housing and framing and siting of the pieces in terms of, there are some places that, where you don't want works in paper in a bright room. You don't want, there are other places that have more dust than others. And I'm thinking about kind of longer term. Yeah, if we clean the sculpture now, that's great, but then, the board 7 years from now is going to go, oh, wow, this is dirty. You remember the last time it was cleaned? And I'm well. So maybe days. So I'm thinking, what did she say anything about their current siting, their current housing?
We did not actually ask about siting per se. She really was looking at at the collection right now and its needs today. We talked a little bit about things in the sun, things that could move, and actually she and Melody had some extensive conversations about what could be retired in the future.
Well, in those two pieces too, the children's piece, I don't know how much it weighs, but I'm assuming that would be very difficult to move. And then also, I mean, the Epic of Gilgamesh is, I mean, that's
It's built into the
place,
wall.
yeah.
Well, and like how often does the children's piece be remarked? And,
About every 3 years.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
I think, built-in checkpoints for a lot of these pieces that would need to continue as
The children's piece and the left of prints
Yes.
done by the same artist and was a joy to acquire
Yes.
those pieces. Hopefully preserve them forever.
How long have we had Children of Peace? Do you know?
Since shortly after that section, since as soon as that pad
Okay, so it's been about 20 years.
I would have to,
Around 99, I believe.
Our mom started in 98, so.
Okay.
yeah. I'm sure we could research and find.
Yeah, I was just curious.
See minutes and so forth. But that was one of the early ones.
It is my intent to continue with this and coming up with an art conservation plan for us that would be a long-term plan that would talk about things like the cleaning and the maintenance and that sort of thing.
Well, I haven't inspected the mural, but I would think that would need to be touched up every few years, just based on, or maybe every 5 years, just based on its location.
Exactly. Well, and it was interesting because she had recommended a protective lacquer. The artist actually did that when it was done. So, yeah.
How did do we know how the scratching?
Oh, the scratching is because he painted over the the outlet cover. And when the cleaning crew plugs in and unplugs the vacuums for cleaning the that area, it scratches it up a little bit.
We might even consider removing that out,
Yeah.
unless there isn't one nearby, but.
And Ian and I have had a chat about, they have some that you can actually like put the paper in and it's plastic over the top of it kind of a thing, and having John McDevitt would totally do this for us, would make a matching cover so that we could just put it on there. So we've talked about the different options as far as those
We
concerned.
have a muralist who has done several photos over the years, including the two that are still up in the later ones. So we work closely with him, I think, to figure this out.
Do we, unless there are other questions or comments, I don't know, do we have a motion to accept the treatment proposal for the Children of Peace Garden Walk in the Epic of Gilgamesh?
Yes, I will move to treat those two pieces.
I would second that, but I would include also the discussion,
The acceptance of
consensus
the
that we want to
report, yeah.
develop a longer-term plan and schedule.
So I'll try to summarize that. We have a motion to accept the treatment proposal for the Children of Peace Garden Walk statue in the Epic of Gilgamesh. It has been, that included with that is the acceptance of the treatment proposal, the larger treatment proposal as a guide for future actions to be taken by the board that has been seconded. And Caitlin, because this involves dollars, maybe we should
Sure.
do a roll call.
Trustee Doherty? Yes. Trustee Burden?
Yes.
Trustee Humphries.
Yes.
Trustee Booth. Yes. Trustee Stapleton.
Yes.
President Taylor.
Yes, thank you very much. Our conservation proposal has been approved. We're now on to agenda item 9B, Teen Central and Notary policy updates.
Yes, and this is just one page in your whole packet because it is a two-word change in the Teen Central policy and a two-word change in the notary policy. In 2.10.3 for Teen Central, that is our general policy, designation of space for special uses, and the section of Teen Central. It used to read that the Teen Central is reserved for teens and used by teens after 3:30 on days local schools are in session and all days when local schools are not in session. However, we now have some early dismissal days, so we are proposing to strike 3:30 p.m. and insert school hours so that it will be in force even when it is an early dismissal day, because we are seeing a lot more kids about an hour earlier than usual on early dismissal days. And then for the notary services, library services policy, the notary section, we had been not, on our list of items we could not notarize was Cook County real estate transactions. What we have found is that the majority of issues that we have with notary transactions, and also the most time-consuming are those real estate transactions, and so we are asking to just not do real estate transactions at all.
So the only language I was thinking about adding to that 5.14, which I think is included with the real estate transactions, is to say, like in parentheses, including mortgage-related documents. Because those are the ones that typically you have like 25 other forms that you need to, complete and notarize and everything else. Yes.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I'm just wondering, does that create any hardship for anybody, as far as we know?
You can, I mean, not that this is the ideal solution, but there are notaries for hire, essentially, for it's not free, but it's not, maybe $100 or something like that.
Most real estate offices,
Yeah, we're going to
mortgage offices and so forth have them, don't
We
they?
do, yes, and we do have other resources that we will be publicizing. We're going to have a notary specific page on our website, as well as most likely a handout too, as we're kind of updating our process and how we handle notary requests. And then it will direct people, you can go here, you can go there to do these specific notarizations. A lot of people do advertise specifically saying, I will do an I-9, I will do mortgage documents. So we have links and resources that we can get.
And just one other comment, a general comment we've had for a couple of years anyway, since Julie came, at least I think we've had a goal of trying to make the policies less specific, so that if the schools change their hours, we don't have to have a board meeting about that to change the hours.
Right.
And I'm glad we're continuing that.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the policy updates as slightly amended?
I will approve of ethics.
Including the mortgage-related document language. Okay. We have a motion to approve the policy updates as presented with a slight inclusion of the language that says including mortgage-related documents in 5.14. That has been seconded, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, the policy updates have been approved. We're now on to agenda item 9C, the affiliation agreement and Schedule A with Aurora University.
I am so pleased to bring this to you. All of the attorneys have signed off on the updated, okay, ours and Aurora Universities have signed off on the language here. It did take us a while to get it back and forth between the two entities, so we are very pleased to put this forward. This will allow us to be a field location for social work interns from Aurora University. Those are unpaid positions. The number of hours for those interns varies by the degree that each person is pursuing. They have bachelor's, master's, doctoral, and postdoctoral programs. So it gives us a pool to hopefully draw from, and these are self-selected by the students. So basically our job ad goes up in their field location office, and anyone who is interested in doing a social work internship at the Downers Grove Library can apply. And then we can, Lizzie Matkowski, our Adult and Teen Services Manager, will be the on-site supervisor for those individuals and working with their professors on the actual learning plan that each one puts together, and that includes their goals and objectives for their time here. So it really does lay out, they work with the professors to lay out what the expectations are, and that's on a case-by-case basis, so as each person comes, they can work on the next piece for us. So this is the last piece that we need in place in order to do.
So what are some of the items or areas that you foresee that they'd be used for?
Putting together resource materials for social service agencies in our area. They can do everything from actually hosting, informational sessions to having one-on-one appointments with clients.
Right, would you be scheduling that on the website? I mean, I thought you were going to say one-on-one, and I was picturing like reserving one of the rooms.
Yes, and that is one of the things that is regularly required for the field location work, is that they need to have an area to work in, particularly for educational sessions or one-on-one sessions. So we do anticipate booking out a study room on a regular basis. And it really depends on the student and what they're looking to do and what we identify as our needs at the time. We have the Aurora Public Library and the Elmhurst Public Library, who were both kind of the test cases for this. They were the first libraries in our area to try it, and the individuals who were the field location supervisors at each of those entities have been helping Lizzie with how to do this, what kind of procedures do you have in place, how do you really get started. So some of it will depend on who walks through the door and wants to take the internship.
But you probably foresee then also putting it in the newsletter to advertise that this is new.
Yes.
And
Well, and we have to get a student.
Right.
We have to figure out what their schedule is. We have to figure out what sorts of things they're going to do. And then we have to get on the Discovery's publication timeline. So that will probably take a long time to get into place. However, in the meantime, if we are adding things like resource sessions or open sessions, we can use our e-news and our social media and all of that to get the word out. In addition, as you know, the village is looking at reconstituting the Human Services Commission, and so we anticipate that whatever staff member is working with the Human Services Commission at the village, we would be making some contact with a student that we had here doing a social work internship. We would work with them as much as we can.
And this has come up a few times over the years, and so we had some calls by part of our constituencies to have some social work services, not a whole department, but an occasional. And then when the village closed its social work department back in 2009, I think it was, we got more of them. And we talked about how can we do this, and the notion of an internship came up, but there just weren't any options available at the time. One became available, and I think Julie and the staff jumped on it, and I think it's wonderful. It's a toe in the water kind of thing, but maybe there are other areas that we can use and both be of service to the universities and the students, but also get some assistance from them.
And maybe even outside of the library too, when we're doing these books on wheels, I forget the exact name.
activities. It really depends. It depends on what's going on at the time. I'm envisioning that it would be much more in-house, but it really depends on the event and what's going on.
Do you have like a number in mind in terms of kind of like a reasonable number?
We, on initial discussion, we had said no more than 2, but probably 1 at a time.
My only question as I was reviewing this was kind of how the insurance would work, but it looks like as I worked my way through the agreement, it looks like that was well
Yes.
thought through by both sides.
Yes. And that was a huge component of making sure that everyone was satisfied with them.
There are words in here for who is responsible for what.
Yes.
It's like it's underneath.
Do we have a motion to approve the affiliation agreement in Schedule A with Aurora University?
I will move to approve the affiliation agreement with Aurora University in Schedule A. 1 second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the affiliation agreement in Schedule A with Aurora University that has been seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, the affiliation agreement in Schedule A with Aurora University has been approved. Thank you. We're now on to agenda item 9D, the authorization to proceed with a public bid for 2020 masonry and exterior doors project.
And this, Ian and I had hoped to meet with Shales McNutt and our John Shales and Jason Markunis about this project a little bit earlier in September. However, due to everyone's scheduling, we are meeting tomorrow. We are looking forward to our 2020 project, and as with the HVAC project's original timeline, we would like to try to have this project bid and awarded in the winter so that we will be first on the list when it comes springtime and time to begin this project. There is extensive masonry work to be done on the exterior of the building, and we do anticipate it taking quite some time as spring comes, so we do want to be first on the list. As with the lighting project and fiction stacks, we are simply asking your authorization to put that out to public bid with our specifications, and of course, all of those bid proposals will come back to you, along with, we anticipate having Jason Perkunis, who is our construction manager for our larger projects, to come and talk to you about a recommendation and why.
And can you also just discuss the capital needs assessment report for people who maybe weren't around back in 2017 or so when we put this together?
So in 2017, we went ahead and we did a whole capital needs assessment for the library. They looked at the entire building and grounds and made recommendations on what was needed to keep this building up and running, heated, cooled, lights on, dry inside, all the great things that you need to keep a public building running for the next 20 years. And then prioritized it and put dollar amounts along with the escalation of cost factors. So they did them all as of the cost in 2017 and then used an escalation factor to take that out to 10 years of projects. We then went ahead and did a financial management plan based on our strategic plan and the capital needs assessment. They kind of gave us a roadmap to what it would take financially to get all of those projects done. So we've been doing a really great job. The board has passed every year to put aside money for those future projects. It is on dglibrary.org/plan is where you can find all of our plans, strategic plan, the capital needs assessment, and the financial management plan. We did reorder the projects slightly due to some issues that we were having early, which also included doing all of the HVAC and boiler work together, partially because we could qualify for some ComEd rebates if we did 3 projects together, so HVAC, boilers, and control systems made us qualify by packaging those together. So we have tried to be as strategic as we can. That also, we have had Ian, our building operations manager, who is amazing, has been able to complete in-house quite a few of our lighting projects, utilizing those ComEd energy efficiency rebates and grants to switch us over to LED lights in a lot of cases, and so there's been a lot of savings. But this is masonry and exterior doors for the 2020 project. They are estimated at approximately $447,000 for the total cost of the project. That does include the construction manager as well. And we are ready to move ahead. It was quite interesting, about a year ago, when Ian first started with us, he looked at the capital needs assessment, and this was one of the projects he looked at, and he's like, is it really gonna cost that much? And he went out and had someone come out and do an estimate for him, and he was shocked at how spot on they really were, so.
So this is more than tuck pointing, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's repair.
right, and we probably have pictures of them.
Everywhere. On the capital needs assessment, if you dig into the meat of it, it's got a lot of information about resetting capstones and cleaning and remortaring and just
But
all
is there
sorts of
something
things.
also around the doors?
Yes, the exterior doors, a lot of the, it's the steel frames as well as the exterior doors themselves, and some of them are actually, the ones that we're looking at are deteriorated to the point where it's not just sanding and painting. There is enough corrosion that there's nothing left to repair. So,
And some of them are probably 40 years old or more.
yes, I think there are some that were simply repainted in the last project.
I'm all for this. Historically, we used to keep kind of a slush fund, and when things happened, we paid for them out of them, and occasionally had to have a bond issue for these. And we now have, if you've ever lived in a condominium, you know what a reserve study is, and what she just described is essentially a reserve study. You plan 20 years ahead for what's going to need to be done, and you budget enough so that when you get to that point, you have enough money in your reserve fund to pay for it, so you don't have to continually be going out to borrow money or go out to have a bond issue or having for a referendum and so forth. So I'm very excited. This is on a planned basis.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments on the authorization to proceed with the public bid of the 2020 masonry and exterior doors project? Okay.
I'll move to authorize proceeding.
I'll say.
Okay, we have a motion to authorize proceeding with the public bid of the 2020 masonry and exterior doors project that has been seconded. Michaela, let's just go with the roll call.
Sure. Trustee Doherty? Yes. Trustee Pagano?
Yes.
Trustee Humphries?
Yes.
Trustee Gutiérrez? Yes. Trustee Stapleton?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes, thank you very much. The authorization to proceed with the public bid for the 2020 masonry and exterior doors project has been approved. We're now on to agenda item number 10, which appears to be unfinished business, which we don't have any unfinished business. Okay, that's good. And then we're now on to agenda item number 11, the library director's report.
I think the first thing that I need to highlight is that we do have all of our summer reading club information included in Lizzie and Allison's reports. That Lizzie Mankowski, our adult and teen services manager, and children's services manager Allison Linnell, both of their reports are in there. And do take a look at them. We were up in our statistics in all age groups, adults, teens, kids, and read to me's, which is the little people. At least an 8% increase in each category. So that was amazing. That's one of the first years in quite a long time that we've been able to say that. So,
And 2,700 from adults.
yes.
That's got to be rare.
Yeah, that just absolutely a fantastic summer reading club, and kudos to all of our staff who worked so hard on that. They are to be commended. For the month of October, as you know, There is No Place That's Home is our month of homelessness awareness. We are doing a 4-program series throughout the month of October to help bring awareness to the issue of homelessness in Downers Grove. So we are also launching our little free pantry here in the library called The Cupboard. That will open on October 1st as well, and that's ready to go. It looks amazing. So that has both food pantry items and toiletries and other small items that folks may need.
Would we be able to see that tonight? I'm just asking. I thought it's like,
Yeah, Caitlin's got the key. We can unlock it and have a look. It looks great. And so if you are intending to come to those events, please be aware it is not, none of those are actually posted as board meetings, so you will not be attending as trustees, and don't talk about library stuff. But the movie screening of the movie The Public is on October 2nd, and that is at the Tivoli Theater. It is free to all who attend, thanks to funding by our Downers Grove Public Library Foundation. And following the movie, there will be a very short Q&A with myself and Carol Simler, who is an executive director of DGPL. So come on out, that's our first one. And then on October 9th, we will have a panel discussion in this room with some of our local officials, including Village Manager Dave Fieldman, our Dr. Hank Thiele, who is Superintendent of District 99, Dr. Kevin Russell, who is Superintendent of District 58, Janelle Robinson from Oaks Front Door, and also Amy LaFawn from Catholic Charities, which is part of the DuPage County Continuum of Care. And they are most of our social services for homeless folks are coordinated through the DuPage County Continuum of Care. So that's why they're there on the panel. Sunday, October 20th, we will have a service fair and volunteer fair, focusing primarily on our faith communities that serve as temporary homeless shelters for the PATS organization. And our last event is Tuesday, October 29th, and that is the book discussion for Sleeping in My Jeans by Connie King Leonard. And we will be having a Skype session with the author that night. So we're very excited about that. And she was absolutely thrilled that we selected her young adult novel as our One Community, One Read and book discussion book for this event. So come on out. And the Art Planning Committee of the Downers Grove Public Library Foundation will be meeting on Friday to begin evaluating the proposals that they got in the second round from artists for the lobby wall commissioned piece. So fingers crossed that art is coming to our lobby. Thank you, Foundation. And then finally, you may have seen my little blurb about Macmillan Publishing's ebook embargo for libraries. And this is starting soon. As of November 1st, libraries will only be able to purchase one copy for an ebook title for the first 8 weeks it is available. One copy. This will be a huge barrier to service for libraries trying to meet the needs of their communities for ebooks. And
What's the typical number that's purchased, like, without, like, for a popular book that's,
Oh, gosh. For something that's popular right out of the gate, 5. Depending on the author and title and the demand we're anticipating, 5 would not be unheard of for us to start with. And we actually have, a means of looking at how many holds are on an item, and we try to have 1 copy for every 5 holds. That will be impossible.
So how many hard copies do you typically have in that situation?
It really depends on the book. 25, yeah.
So with the embargo on ebooks, are you thinking that you need to purchase more old stuff?
Well,
Probably not.
Probably, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that would be again.
Yeah,
holds on the item.
It really depends on if people go and make and put hold on the paper copy as opposed to the ebook. A lot of our ebook users are almost solely ebook
Right,
users.
that's why I didn't know.
And
if they
so
were.
we don't really know yet
Yeah.
how it will impact, but what we do know is that people are not going to be happy that they're going to be waiting at least 8 weeks longer for their ebook.
Unfortunately, it's going to be us and our staff that's going to take those complaints, not the publishing.
Well, I think you publicize it early.
And actually, it will be a feature article in our next discoveries. Will be about this.
is there a limitation after the embargo?
No.
They're shooting themselves in the foot.
It's what
And our
the
feet too.
electronic videos did too.
And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. We're now on to agenda item number 12, trustee comments and requests for information. Do we have any trustee comments and requests for information? Yes, Dave.
There's no place like home.
There's no place that's
There's
home.
no place that's home. It's program I'm very excited about. So many people still feel that our homeless people are in each county and just on the road. And yet we have 4 pad sites in Downers Grove that prove that wrong. One of them's at my church right across the street. And we've been servicing the homeless for 34 years over there. And the library is not but one of the ground zeros of this issue. And I have been quite gratified over the years of the support in our community that has come to the library in serving the public, which includes the homeless. And I'm thrilled that our staff is, and the foundation taking the time themselves to come up with this program for this month. And I would urge all of us next Wednesday night to go to Tivoli and see that movie. And not talk to each other.
Not discuss library business. We can talk to each other.
We can't talk, we shouldn't talk to each other, but we should watch the movie and we can talk to the public. But, and then the panel discussion the week after. I'm talking myself like crazy, and I'm thrilled that the library is publicizing this so widely.
Is the movie that long, the 2.5 hours?
The movie is almost exactly 2 hours long, and it only has 2 minutes of credits at the
Okay.
end. So we're going to do a brief Q&A afterwards.
Okay. Any additional trustee comments or requests for information?
I did just have a question. We have a per capita continuing education requirement
Yes.
that's due for 2020. I'm sorry, I think I haven't pulled up your previous email, so I'm asking this instead.
Yes.
That's for next year.
Yes,
So
that
that's-
the application is due on January 15th. So generally, we do whatever the requirements are in the fall. There's some reading for trustees. There's some continuing ed, at least a webinar, if not an in-person training. And then there is also a little self-education piece about the Illinois digital archives. We'll probably put that up on the screen at our future meeting when we discuss those things.
Yeah, the one email I did see, there were links of all things we could watch.
Yes,
And they were really great topics, so I was thinking I was gonna do raising the performance bar.
Sure.
If we all do slightly different ones. But it's okay if I do it
Yes,
in September, October.
yes, yes.
And
And,
we could, like,
and it
like,
just,
you know, show you that, or-
Well, I
Yes,
actually
please.
did that one. I sent Julie the emails
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
I watched
if
it.
you just let me know which one you did and when,
Okay.
that way I can record
Okay.
those. The actual 2020 per capita grant application has not been posted yet, so I don't know it. So we have literally the requirements list and no idea what the question is going to be. And in past years, they've asked the question slightly differently than what they had written for the requirements. So we're just looking to cover all bases.
So we could
to be
wait,
able to-
it might be more helpful if we wait until you.
Well, we don't know when they'll post
Okay.
it. The
Okay.
Illinois State Library sometimes posts them well in advance and sometimes posts them a little later. So,
All right, a secondary question is, September 23rd, so I think earlier this week, from the Secretary of State named Jill Heffernan sent letters about literature. Can I get more clarification on that? It
Wait,
was,
what was that, like, why?
I think we got it as
Why?
library board members,
Okay.
as we sometimes do get emails.
Yeah.
So it was just letting us know something, like maybe our own children can participate, right?
I wasn't sure if it was fourth graders.
Yeah, that's right, I don't know if it came from library or not. Okay, if you and I are the only ones.
okay. It came from the state library. They sent it to all library trustee emails. And it was about a contest.
Right, it is a contest.
Yes, and that,
Okay, good enough. My last comment is just that Republic Bank has another idea that they may be pairing with libraries. Veterans Day is coming up, and if you guys are interested, you can speak, I can put you in touch with the right person. They could do, have the community nominate a veteran, and whoever wins that, they'll have a poster board. I have a picture of it, it's like 5 feet by, I don't know, 20 inches or something, printed of that veteran who was honored. And so we can talk further.
In their bank or?
Here at the library. It'd be something you could put on your website if you want to do another community outreach thing. Very minimal.
send us the contact on that.
Okay.
We'll figure out what we can do.
My school is doing quite a lot for veterans. You've seen it now. Veterans also, so partner with that, possibly. I almost forgot something. It was amazing. Since the last board meeting, I asked at the last board meeting if I could be on a fly on the wall and at the service day for all of the library staff for, among other things, a study of how they can treat each other and the public with more understanding in the areas of diversity and inclusion and so forth. And I was invited to not participate, but be a fly on the wall for a couple of hours during that session, and it was absolutely amazing. And I was thrilled to see how well the questions and answers and participation by our staff on this subject was just thrilling to me to see.
Who was it that presented that, or no?
Praxis Group,
Praxis, yes.
they're based in Chicago, and they presented creating and affirming an inclusive workplace culture, which is an excellent afternoon program for staff review.
And I emphasize the talk about treating each other as well as the public. It was great.
Okay, do we have any additional trustee comments or requests for information? All right, then we're on to agenda item number 13, and I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.